Nobody can stop the Crimson Fleet.
True bounty hunting using Useful Brigs and the Nonlethal Framework Mods. Bring them back alive in a working brig. Hello everyone, this is Richard. Welcome to Starfield Essentials. Bounty hunting is a hot topic in Starfield, thanks to the addition of Trackers Alliance missions in the last major update. I will show how to use the Useful Brigs and the Nonlethal Framework Mods to take bounty hunting to the next level. I'll demonstrate what these mods can do, and what may be their limitations, at least based on my testing. This video is a sequel to my last video on finding bounties in Starfield. That video shows the vanilla or mod-free experience. In order to take bounties alive and put them in your brig, there are 5 prerequisites. First, you need to install the following mods or creations. The first 3 are by Korodic, and the last is by Shadedness. Nonlethal Framework. Useful Brigs. The following is optional. It requires you to restrain a target before sending them to the brig. I use it in this video. Nonlethal Framework, Useful Brigs patch. The following is a requirement, unless you're already using a mod that adds similar capability. I recommend using this mod. Shades Immersive Looting. Second, after the mods are installed, you need to have a suitable ship. You have 2 options. One option is to have a ship with at least one explicitly named brig hab. I will show that option shortly. The other option is to have a ship with at least one Taiyo or HopeTech 2x1 Armory. These habs include a mini-brig with 2 beds. I will show that option later. Third, after you have the mods installed and a suitable ship, you need to equip your character with handcuffs to apprehend targets. Although you should be able to buy these at a few locations, it seems easier to me to just craft them at an industrial workbench. Here I am crafting 10 double batches, or 20 sets of handcuffs. The 4th step is optional, but I recommend everyone add it because it facilitates troubleshooting. These mods allow you to build a brig control terminal. This device helps you ensure the mods are working correctly. You want the terminal to show the expected number of beds in the brig. In this example, there are 2, thanks to the Taiyo Armory. 5th and finally, we want all characters who will be bounty hunting to be equipped with EM weapons. Here I am using Novablast Disruptors. These will incapacitate targets to facilitate live bounties. Remember, you can charge these for a bigger blast by holding the firing button down and then releasing on the target. We are now ready to bring them back alive. The ship I'm using in the first scenario is the bounty hunting vessel I built months ago when asked by a viewer. See this video for details on how I constructed and tested it. It has a HopeTech 2x2 brig and a HopeTech 2x1 armory. That yields 6 total beds for prisoners. The first scenario involves a character who has not started the Trackers Alliance mission at all. I'm going to visit a random POI and capture some of the enemies there. I'm visiting the moon Holly. There is an advanced weapon station there occupied by Crimson Fleet pirates. This character sided with the Crimson Fleet. That means I can walk right up to pirates and discreetly incapacitate them with my Novablast Disruptor. As long as you're not in combat, you can restrain the target. Here I use the X key for that. And then once the target has been restrained... Life's good, huh? I hit B to send to brig, and now the pirate is in my brig. Here's another candidate. Charge my weapon by holding the trigger and then fire. Restrain the target. Send them to brig. Notice I'm doing this hidden. I'm not getting any Crimson Fleet bounties because I am part of the Crimson Fleet, but no one else is noticing me. Now that I've captured 6 pirates, let's see them in the brig. The ship has... Yeah, always looking for the next mark. In jail. I love it. Should be scared of my character. So this ship has 6 beds. There are 4 in the proper Taiyo brig. And the top guy there is a little bit difficult to see, but he's in there. So there's 2 in the last cell. There's 2 in that cell. And now we go into the Taiyo Armory. Hello there. You can see 2 people. I'm going to open the door and talk to these people.
The UC really thinks SysDef scares us. Glad you're in the fleet. If you weren't, I would have killed you.
Killed me, huh?
Nobody can stop the Crimson Fleet.
Nobody can stop the Crimson Fleet. I love it. Except my guy who's got you all in prison. Time to close the door. Goodbye. Enjoy your flight. Once your brig is full, you can either eliminate your prisoners. Oh, I love the pirate brigand is humming as he's being taken away. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn these prisoners into UC security. I'll go to Jemison and New Atlantis.
Nice ride.
Here, I turn in my 6 prisoners and receive over 9,000 credits for my work. I also keep their possessions, such as gear. I can sell that for a profit too. The second scenario will revisit the idea of scanning crowds for bounties. This is similar to what I covered in my last video on the Trackers Alliance. You do not need to start or complete the Trackers quest line in order to scan crowds for random bounties.
Whoa, jeez.
In this section, I will demonstrate several variations of the same encounter.
Don't worry about it.
First, let's see if we can persuade someone wanted dead or alive to come quietly.
What? There must be a mix-up. I guess it doesn't matter if I say I didn't do it then. Huh. Money does fix a lot of problems, doesn't it? Finally.
Look at that neon security guard in the background. Helpful.
I'm ready to make things right. What a relief.
Now you'll see the mission status bounty hunting indicated a successful completion of this mission. And I'm going to restrain the target using the X button. He drops his weapon. I have to grab it if I want to sell it later. And I do have the option to send to brig, so I'm going to do that. Elizabeth. Hit B, sent to brig, and now the target has been sent to the brig. Back on the ship. Where is my prisoner? Although the prisoner is not visible in any of the cells, I can see in the brig control terminal that I do have 1 criminal prisoner on board. Back in New Atlantis, I am able to turn in the prisoner for 1,235 credits. So my first warning for this set of mods is that sometimes prisoners are not visible in brig cells. Let's repeat this encounter. This time, rather than opting for persuasion, we will start combat immediately. This is okay in a dead or alive scenario. Although I chose combat, I will not kill this NPC. You can see that as soon as I incapacitated him, the mission completed and I received 1,135 credits. I want to send him to my brig next. As soon as I hit the restrain key, the neon security guards nearby become hostile and start shooting me. I can't send my bounty to the brig because I'm in combat. There is an additional mod to enable sending to a brig in combat, but I'm not running it here. So we have learned that you cannot effectively engage in combat, complete a bounty, and then restrain a target without causing security forces to consider you a hostile. Let's try this engagement one more time. Here I will start combat and try not to incapacitate the bounty. How will the guards react to me just shooting the wanted dead or alive target? The guards have no problem with this approach. Notice that I also get a successful mission status bounty hunting message. Let's try completing a mission from the Trackers Alliance board. We are supposed to apprehend a criminal on Groombridge 8D. This bounty is wanted alive. The target is hiding at an abandoned Muybridge Pharmaceuticals lab. There are ecliptics everywhere here, so I will have to use lethal force on the non-target enemies. The wanted target is named Trusty Vertanen. Once I have the target alive and in custody, I send them to the brig. Unfortunately, this has resulted in mission failure. Notice how the mission status Wanted Criminal on Groombridge 8D flashes red in the upper left-hand corner of the screen. If I check the status in my missions menu, I see a red X next to collect the bounty. This is really frustrating. Is the target in my brig? Yes, there she is, alive and waiting for law enforcement. My brig control terminal confirms her status. Thankfully, I am able to turn in this bounty for 2,251 credits. While I'm here in New Atlantis, it seems I've stumbled across another random NPC bounty. Let's take this opportunity to test a couple other aspects of these mods. Let's grab the first target as he literally walks past the bounty scanner.
Not looking for conversation right now. Move along. You gotta be kidding me.
I've successfully persuaded this guy to come with me. As soon as I restrain him, I get successful mission status on bounty hunting. And now I'm trying to figure out what to do with this guy. Before sending him to the brig, I see a second bounty strolling past the scanner. Let's talk to her.
Fine, I'll go quietly. Expect to hear from my lawyer, though.
I was able to convince her to come quietly. And I restrain her. And she drops quite a weapon. I'll need to pick that up. I tell both bounties to follow me. Unfortunately, I cannot turn them in to UC security. It seems the only way to turn in prisoners is to do so from the brig. I'm able to send both of my prisoners to the brig and then turn them into UC security for 2,470 credits. So far, I've been sending prisoners to a ship with an explicit brig hab, the HopeTech 2x2 brig. It also has a HopeTech Armory. Let's test that the Taiyo Armory, with its mini-brig, is also functional. In this case, I've added the Armory hab to the rear of one of my original Wolf-class ships. Please see this video for details on the generic Wolf class if you want to build my latest model. With this engagement, I'm going to Andromas 2 for another abandoned Moorbridge Pharmaceuticals lab. It's a generic mission board job. There are spacers at this location, so I will have to use lethal force on the unwanted targets. My bounty target is a Spacer Vulture. With my target incapacitated, I'm able to restrain him and then send him to the brig once combat subsides. Notice that sending this target to the brig results in a successful mission completion. I'll grab one more spacer for good measure. Back on my ship, I check the brig control terminal to verify that I have 2 prisoners. I can see them in the Armory hab as well, sleeping peacefully. Back on New Atlantis, I'm able to turn these 2 prisoners into UC security for 3,449 credits. The last scenario is one of the funnest and most challenging. I'm going to try to clear an entire POI using non-lethal force and put all the enemies into a massive prison ship. Here I've added a Taiyo Armory and 6 2x2 Taiyo brigs to the back of one of my Wolf-class ships. This gives me 26 total beds for prisoners. This is a mission for the Trackers Alliance to apprehend a criminal alive on Shoza 7C. This target is at an abandoned research tower. In this engagement, you'll see me punching incapacitated targets before restraining them. I do that because I'm using a slightly different set of mods. This was also one of my earliest tests, and I forgot that I could bash a target with a weapon rather than punch them if needed. My target here is Lucky Conroy. As soon as I incapacitate Lucky, I get credit for successful mission completion.
Always looking for the next mark.
After clearing the tower, let's see how our brig looks. Look at all these prisoners!
Nobody can stop the Crimson Fleet.
Ask for a bigger cut from Delgado? Yeah, sure. Rather fly into the sun.
Does the UC really think SysDef scares us? Always looking for the next mark.
At New Atlantis, I'm able to turn 17 prisoners into UC security for 23,637 credits. I also get to keep all their gear. Note that I would need to pick up their weapons manually if I wanted to sell those later. Overall, this is a great set of mods, if you can get them working with any other mods you might be using. I had mixed success with my setup. Sometimes everything worked, and other times I could not send anyone to the brig. Sometimes I could send prisoners to the brig, and then they would be invisible. There's the issues I mentioned earlier, where Trackers Alliance alive bounties fail if you send a prisoner to your brig. Also beware of restraining a prisoner after choosing combat. Local security treats that as aggression. What do you think of these mods? Let me know in a comment. If you made it to this part of the video, let me know by leaving a comment with the phrase, "Put Captain Solo in the cargo hold." If you enjoy this content, please feel free to like and subscribe. Also, remember to ring the bell icon and select all notifications to show that you're a simple person trying to make your way in the universe. Check out my other Starfield videos if you like this sort of play. My name is Richard. I will see you in the Starfield.